And for me, I love disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
I love when someone can come on and say, I think you're wrong on this point. Awesome. Explain to me how. Because I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And now you've made me better by showing me where I was wrong. But by, that's because your mama's ugly. It's like, well, that's, that's really not what we're talking about here.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yes.
I didn't say anything about my mama in this video. It's like, come on.
Yes.
But they do get down. Like, I mean, they do get into, how your parents met and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, whoa,
Yes.
whoa. What does that have to do with Prop 50?
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives. I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
And today we wanted to take some time out to talk about the comments section. We set up this podcast because we really wanted to engage with others. We wanted to have good faith conversations, and we've had some of it, but we've had some interesting comments as well that I kind of ignore them. Tiffany likes to engage with them, but whatever. But so that's what we wanted to talk about today was sifting through the comments and our original goal of really having good faith conversations. And with that, we're just gonna go ahead and roll on into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, so before we get started, just one little thing. We celebrated our 1-year anniversary yesterday.
Yes,
Yay,
we did.
November 10th. So excited. It's been a great year, and it actually feels longer than a year. We've been through a lot and done a lot. So that's awesome.
Yes, we have.
We had a good celebration too.
And had a little mini vacation for that as well.
Yes,
so
yes.
that
Staycation,
that was wonderful.
Yeah. But let's get into it. So I'm going to start with myself, like just talking about being able to have good faith conversations. When you first started talking about that to me, I wasn't sure that I know it can happen.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of hard to find someone who's willing to do it
Absolutely.
especially if they're far away from where you are or you're far away from where they are. And so I really work hard to be a part of that work on this podcast. But I don't appreciate when people come in and say all kinds of crazy things. And I know that I cannot control that.
You're right.
And I am a person who does comment on other people's stuff. I'm not even just talking about in our comments, but just in general. I do like to talk to people on social media. And I have had some great conversations. I've had conversations where I've argued with people initially and they would go in and do personal attacks, and I kept it where I didn't personally attack back.
Right.
And I've actually had people apologize to me in a DM for attacking me.
Yeah.
Or we've come to conclusion, or we've said, hey, you look into this and I'll look into that. And it's been great. There have been times where I went low like they did. I was like, oh, I have time today. But on the podcast, I really try not to do that. And we really were encouraging people to comment, to leave comments. And like you said, there's been some great ones. I've had friends who've left great comments.
Absolutely.
People who've asked questions, people who may have disagreed with something that we said, but in a polite way. Yeah. I think the last post about Proposition 50, where there was an ad attached to it. And as far as I know, the ad was just showing, hey, this is...
Yeah, it was just showing the video.
Yeah, this is the video, right?
Right.
And the video... If people looked past the headline, and I don't even think the headline indicated how anybody felt about anything,
it didn't.
But so many people reacted to the headline and just started typing the nastiest things that they could. Did. And it just, one person was cursing. They did it on the page and they did it in the DMs. I was like, oh no, we're not doing that. First of all, you didn't even listen to it. You just reacted to it. And what are you cursing at me for? And calling me liar and all this stuff, calling us liars. Nobody lied about anything. It's clear that you didn't read it. And it kills me when people who do these things are people who are like, they have like God and Jesus in their name. And it's like, what? it just really sets me off. Like I'm not as good about ignoring those things because I'm like, how dare you? Like you can disagree, but there wasn't really anything to disagree in there. That video was about, hey, if you're for it, think about when the other side does the same thing.
Right.
And that applies to whichever side you're on.
Right.
Hey, consider what precedent this sets. That is what the conversation was.
Yes.
Right. And so we didn't talk about how we voted, how we were going to vote, how you should vote.
Nope.
None of that.
Not at all.
And that's really frustrating that people wouldn't stop. You're accusing other people of accusing people of being harsh.
Yes.
But you're not looking at yourself. And honestly, is one party that did that. Honestly, it was one group. I don't want to blame the whole party, but it was one group of people who were just nasty in their comments.
Yeah, it was more on one side than the other. You know,
but I will state nobody was racist. No one said a racist comment.
No,
and
I didn't see any of that.
I didn't see any of that. I appreciate that.
But I just look at it a little bit differently because you get really angry at some of the comments. For me, I feel sorry for people who can't seem to think on their own. A lot of people right now are outsourcing their thought process to whatever influencer or whatever pundit they like to watch. And that's where they get their thoughts from. And so because of that, some people have no ability to engage with something that their person doesn't agree with. And so for me, I just kind of feel sorry for people like that. And, you know, when we first started this podcast, you know, I mean, you told me about how hard it is for people to have good faith conversation. And I've had a lot of my friends say the same thing. And I believe that. But for me, it's like, I don't think that we have a choice that at some point, you know, if we're going to come together as a country, you know, we're going to have to learn how to have discussions. Because if you look at the ugly comments, most of them had, as you said, had nothing to do with the video. So what are you even talking about? Now, I saw some comments, you know, there was a difference between the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments.
The Facebook comments are harsh.
The Facebook comments were the worst.
Yes.
There was very little good faith on the Facebook side. On the YouTube side, there was a mixed bag. There was a little bit of everything, you know, craziness and good comments. And what was interesting was on the YouTube side, there were people who were disagreeing with the video. And I'm saying, what are you disagreeing with? Now, if you're saying that, you know, trying to say that normalizing certain things you should be mindful of, if you have a disagreement with that, that's fine. But they were disagreeing as if we took a stance, and there was no stance taken.
Right.
And so that's why, and it's just like you said, it's like, did you even watch it? You know, but those who actually engaged with it, and actually you could tell they watched it and said, okay, well, I'm still against Prop 50, or I'm still for Prop 50, whatever the case may be. I'm totally cool with that. And that's where the conversation should be.
Right.
But the people with the crazy stuff, I pity them. I just do. I don't get angry at them.
I guess I do. I do get upset because I'm getting attacked, but I think I'm also guilty of what I'm saying. I mean, I don't feel like I ever go on anyone's page and attack them personally or just say nasty things. I question what they've written or their stance.
Yes.
Or when people repost things that are very loaded, I do question it, but I don't think that I'm disrespectful. Yeah. And that's kind of what I ask, you know, of people. And honestly, like if I think about you and I, we're both wanting people to have these conversations.
Yes.
I think we both could work on doing what we're asking people to do, right? Because you and I, we have very heated conversations.
Absolutely.
Right? Especially when it comes to racism. And we both are passionate about it, but in different ways.
Yes.
Right. And then it gets pretty heated, and we're asking people not to do that. Right. And so we too have to do that as well. And one thing that I'm asking people to do, hey, go past the headline, pay attention to what, we wrote. And then that's basically what you're telling me to do when I see something and I immediately kind of believe in it, or I'm not questioning it as much as I should. And I'm kind of going with it feeding my narrative or not feeding my narrative, I guess, too, because there's been things that you've asked me to look at where you were trying to get me to see past the blurb. And I did try to look at some of that stuff. And it's not easy to do that.
No, it isn't.
It's not.
It isn't.
Right. And sometimes you do it and you're like, okay, I see where they're going. And other times I'm like, nope, still feel the same way. Right. But I just try not to be
which is fine.
Disrespectful.
Which is fine when you've actually looked at it and you've considered it.
Right.
If you still feel the same way, then that's fine. You're justified.
Right.
Because you've done the work. But and I mean, when we talk about these things and we're trying to put a message out about good faith conversations, I'm actually sometimes talking to myself. Because there are certain things that, as soon as I see where it seems like the person is going in a certain direction, my mind just kind of shuts down. It's, oh, this is crazy, and that's why we had the episode a few episodes ago about, judging a book and everything. And we got to see the videos of the real Big Mama 214. I think I got it right. I got it right.
I think so.
In fact, I was just watching one of her videos today.
Yeah, I see them all the time. I know. And I still want you on the show. I just haven't done my show yet, right? The teacher show. So don't think
I love that, because now when her videos come on, I'm just open. I don't have that anymore. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving that same consideration to everyone. And so this is not, we're not trying to say that we're perfect in this.
Right.
But I think that as we build a community of people who are interested in good faith conversations, it also helps us to get better at it as well. So, but in terms of, a lot of the conversations that we get, because a lot of our comments, they do really go towards a lot of the political stuff, a lot of the Second Amendment stuff, where there's really, a lot of heated stances on either side. But, with how violent things are getting right now, and with the heat and the rhetoric right now, we really need to work on pulling back and being able to have these conversations.
Right. And I'm not saying you can't get heated or passionate even, but when it turns to name calling, and it doesn't matter if you're calling me those names or you're calling the people we're talking about names, that it's still kind of inappropriate. It doesn't help the conversation. Yeah. It's really hard to talk to someone who is calling people that we're discussing names. Yeah. And I understand they feel passionate about what they're saying and they may hate that person to the core. Right. But we still, if we want to have a conversation about it, we need to do it without talking to each other like that. It's just not, it doesn't help, Yes. And it's just, you're stereotyping that person too. You haven't even heard what they had to say before I can see we had a long conversation at the end. You son of a, but we didn't even get there yet. And you're already starting that way.
But you're not just stereotyping that person. You're also going after anyone who may be in any way near that side. Right. And so, you'll have people who may agree or disagree with a certain amount of things, but not to the same level. Right. Yeah. And so what you've done is you've painted all of them into a corner. And when you do that, then people aren't interested in what you have to say after that. Right. They feel like they need to defend themselves. Right. Right. And so trying to make sure, and this is something that I'm still working on to this day, that my initial response to things doesn't end the conversation, but actually helps to start the conversation.
And keeping in mind that people are in different places in their knowledge. Yes. Right? And that keeping in mind that we all need to be more knowledgeable. We all need to dig more. We need to look more. We need to question more. Yeah. We need to really not just take everything at face value. And with that said, knowing that some people have a little more information than others, and so we can't get as frustrated with them if we haven't even schooled them a little bit. you know?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I have to work on, because I get frustrated by people who aren't even curious. I get frustrated by people who just, well, my favorite pundit says this, so this is what I say, or my party line says this, and so this is what I need to say, and never saying, hey, do I actually agree with that?
So reflective, like somebody could still categorize themselves as being curious, but only learning about what they want to learn about, right?
That's
so the
fine.
question is, that's not fine though, because you're going to have to, in order to be more open-minded or to come together, you do have to look at the other information. You don't have to accept it, but you do have to look at it, understand it, look into it, maybe discredit it, like something. If you just shut it down, then we're in the same space. But you have
to have your own opinion. This is the showstopper for me.
Yeah.
This is where I lose respect for people when all they think about is, well, this is what the influencer that I watch or the podcast I listen to, this is what they say, so this is what I'm saying. And it's like, really, you have no opinions of your own at all?
But people think they do. They think that that's their opinion. My opinion is I agree with that person, but they're not, they haven't done their own deep dive into whatever the topic is.
Yeah, and what the implications of that decision are. That was why we wanted to talk about Prop 50. This is why we want to talk about politics leading up to the 2026 midterms, is that not trying to say that you have to be Democrat or Republican or whatever the case may be, but just understanding that in these situations, you're rarely going to find a perfect answer. You know, regardless to what stance you have, I guarantee there's a trade-off to it. And that doesn't mean that you should change your stance, but it just means that you should be considerate of what you're actually talking about,
and knowledgeable about it. You know.
Yeah.
The other thing, I mean, not that we can come back to this, but I wanted to say that there's other people who leave comments, and what I feel really bad about is there's sometimes people asking us to have a show about a certain thing that it's outside of our scope. We'd have to do extensive research, you know, I mean, it's not that we don't want to help people, because that's what I always want to do. Yeah. But it's just not our scope, you know.
No.
It's not, we're not news reporters.
Not journalists.
I mean, there might be things that we do report on, but it's based on our opinion, basically, and not, you know. So there's been some big things that people have asked, and it's like, oh, I feel heartbroken by saying no, you know.
Yeah, I've seen some that were pretty compelling.
Yeah.
But it's just the level of research that we would have to do, because it's like way outside both of our wheelhouses. So it's like we'd have to really do some research, because we don't want to, you know, have someone on there and then have them say something that may be totally false, but we don't know any better, you know, and so we don't want to do that either.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough one, but we have had people come with some compelling stories, you know, and a few of them maybe we will explore.
Yeah.
You know, like we're going to have the real Big Mama.
Yes.
214 on here.
Yes, we are. Yes.
So we are going to engage with that. But the main thing is just having, you know, just you know, having a drive to change the conversation in this country. I have no interest in everybody agreeing. And in fact, I think it would be wrong if everybody agreed. I think discourse is healthy and it's required because you could be wrong.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you need someone bringing that nuance or that other angle that you never considered. So it's important that people don't always agree with each other, but it's how people are disagreeing right now. It's in some ways it's cowardly because it's behind a keyboard, you know, and I do honestly believe that if people were in front of each other, they wouldn't talk this way.
Right.
Half those people on Facebook, the ones that are actually real and not bots, you know, I mean, I can't imagine that if we were actually in a room together, that they would say those same things.
Right. And people saying things to other people and they know it'll get back to the person, but too afraid to say it to the actual person that needs to hear it. Like that stuff lights me on fire. Because I'm like, be bold enough to say it, you know, straight up and be able to handle the conversation back and forth, you know, just purposefully putting something out there so that I can get back to the person and be kind of changed a little bit with the game of telephone.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a good look.
It isn't.
No, and it just creates more. I mean, I know it bugs me. I've heard way too many things and it's making me shut down, to be honest with you. Like I'll never give up the fight for justice, but I am feeling a little worn down because it feels like that's all it is. Like fight.
Yeah.
For like the most basic respect.
Yes, because it's a fight. It's not a discussion.
Yeah.
You know, it's different if someone says, well, I disagree with your social justice stance. And then you guys can have like a back and forth and actually talk about it.
Right.
But it's something else when it's, you know,
when you're just shut down or shut out and, or, you know, the person's not even being truthful.
Right.
I mean, that doesn't help. So
yeah.
Anyway, we do appreciate the comments.
Absolutely.
And we want that to go. And I know some people say, well, any what's the word? Like any, I can't even think of what it's called. Like anytime you get some kind of attention, any attention is good attention or whatever. I heard people say something to that effect. I can't remember the exact saying.
Yeah.
But I don't want that kind of.
I don't either.
I don't want us to be famous for drama. You know what I mean?
No.
And I still want to be able to have hard conversations, but with respect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And for me, I love disagreement. I love when someone can come on and say, you know, I think you're wrong on this point. Awesome. Explain to me how. Because I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And now you've made me better by showing me where I was wrong. But by, you know, well, that's because your mama's ugly. You know, it's like, well, that's, you know, that's really not what we're talking about here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right. Yes.
You know, I didn't say anything about my mama in this video. You know, it's like, come on.
Yes.
You know, but they do get down. Like, I mean, they do get into, you know, how your parents met and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, whoa, whoa, what does that have to do with Prop 50?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, wow, you know, but you see that the anger that some people have, and maybe it's from a sense of helplessness, you know, because people want to be heard and they feel like, you know, like their feelings are not being validated, or I don't know what happens with some of these people, but when I see the more angry comments, I just wonder, what kind of life do you have that, you know, instead of going out and pursuing goals and having a life, you sit here and get angry about a video
that you didn't watch.
Right, that you didn't even watch.
If you watched it, okay, but if you didn't watch it,
and with some of them, I don't even think they read the title. You know, it's like,
right, yeah. They just saw Prop 50.
Yeah.
And, you know,
exactly.
two people talking about it.
Yeah,
and just assumed like, oh,
yep,
these libtards are trying to blah, blah, blah.
Attack.
Yeah. I'm hoping that things get better, because right now, I mean, I understand the anger. I understand people being angry, but you need a filter. And I know some people admire people for just saying exactly what's on their mind, you know, because everyone thinks everyone's too sensitive. And I get that to a certain extent, but sensitive about what? Like, yeah, I'm going to be sensitive if you start attacking me personally. Who wouldn't? I should be. Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Why aren't you sensitive enough is my question.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't mean that we can't have a tough conversation and go at it, but that doesn't mean you say whatever you're thinking.
Right.
Everything that's in your mind should not come out of your mouth.
No.
Right?
Really
and
shouldn't.
so or it needs to come out of your mouth in a respectful way. I don't see why it's such a challenge to ask people to do that.
No.
Right? This is what we expect from children.
Yes.
Why wouldn't I expect that from an adult who has so much more, background and knowledge, and they're supposed to be wiser. So come on, let's do this.
Yeah. And that's one of the other things is that this is what we're handing to our kids, and, this anger and this vitriol towards stuff that we don't even understand. Right. This is what we're handing to our kids is anger and grievance. And right now, people are honestly addicted to grievance. And I feel it in myself sometimes. There are times that I've watched so many videos or read so many articles that I feel like I'm starting to just walk around angry for no reason. And so I have to, let me take some time away and kind of recenter myself. But that's what's happening right now, because in order to get clicks, you have to be angry. You got to be pissed off about something, and you have to have a certain level of hatred for the other side. And it could be something as trivial as, I'm from the DC area. It could be something as trivial as the Commanders and the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I'm telling you, you go to a Washington football game and you see people with Cowboy jerseys. I mean, people are ready to actually kill them. Yeah. Over a jersey, over a football team. It's like, really?
Right.
This has nothing to do with crime in the streets. It has nothing to do with health care. It has nothing to do with fair pay. It has nothing to do with anything. It's a sports event.
Yeah.
And you're ready to kill somebody because they have a jersey on of a team that you don't like.
Right.
So, and I really say that also to my friends up in Philadelphia, because they have a special kind of hatred for everybody else. So, but we're going to continue this work. And what I have seen, and I don't know if I would hope that you've seen this as well, where there have been some good faith conversations. Not only that, but some of our friends have gotten involved in saying, hey, explain this to me. I think that's our goal here.
Yeah.
Not thinking that just the two of us are going to fix the country's discourse.
Right. Absolutely not. Like, I'm still working on it myself. You know what I mean? I'm willing to have the conversations, and I still feel pretty passionate about a lot of things, but I'm also learning a lot of things that a lot of things are not quite how they seem too. And that's really important to note.
Yeah.
Or that when it first comes out, you have that initial reaction to it. And then you don't hear about all the little details that come after. And you just react off of your initial moment engaging with it, as well as everyone else's moments of engaging with it. And that's where you base your opinion. But you never even find out what really happened. And there's been quite a few little things that later on you've shown me well, let's read deeper about this. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's really nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I've had, friends of mine get upset with me because something will happen in the news and I don't react to it. And they're like, how do you not have a reaction? That's crazy. It looks crazy so far, but I don't know anything about it.
I'm one of those friends because I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I need more information before I react. It may be something to go crazy about. It may be.
Yes.
But I don't know that yet.
Right.
Because all I've seen is a headline.
And that's okay. That's okay to not have a reaction yet and to not go crazy yet. But what I don't understand is if there's already saying, no, that couldn't have happened. That didn't happen. That's not what it seems. That's not that is just the same thing to me.
It is.
So
it is.
I think just being aware that we do that either way, and for everybody, hey, let's just not have a reaction one way or the other too deep.
Yes.
I think it's normal to be like, ooh, that sounds tough if that really happened.
Right. That's
you know
fine.
what I mean? Yeah.
That's fine. As long as you reserve your final judgment until more information comes in, then
right.
absolutely, you know, it's okay to have an initial reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say I've had initial reactions on things, but I try to tell myself, let's just take a deep breath.
Right.
I don't have enough information yet. It may be bad. It may not be. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But let's just take a deep breath. But I still want us to be able to engage because, you know, with the level of discourse right now, we have to do better. And I've got friends on all sides of just about every major issue out there. And I'm not going to hate them just because they're on that side.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things that it is kind of new, I'd say probably in the past, 15 years or so, you know, whereas now, if I disagree with you on something, that means we can't be friends. We can never speak again.
Right.
You know, you're no longer invited over for Thanksgiving because you have a different point than I do on something. And I don't want to be that way.
Right. And I think it starts, I'm always going back to education, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Having kids, first of all, say how they feel and not being afraid to say that to someone.
Yes.
Right. And then also not being afraid to hear how someone feels and not taking it so personally that you can't even hear it. Yeah. And then just allowing the kids or allowing people to engage in some tough topics. Yeah. One unpopular topic that I understand some people don't like, but it comes up in my classroom pretty much every year. Now I'm in kindergarten, so it may not. But in second grade, it came up a lot. I mean, this is something so small, if Santa exists or not, right? And you have those kids whose parents have told them, no, he doesn't. They have those parents who have told their kids, yes, they do. If you hear, like, I never put in my opinion or tell the truth. Right. One time I almost slipped because we were supposed to be writing about a nonfiction, and one of the kids wanted to write about Santa. And I said, you have to do nonfiction. And then they were like, what do you mean? And then I realized, I was like, oh, yeah, go ahead, write about Santa. But I've also had kids where they go back and forth stating how they feel and stating their, what they believe is true and their facts according to their knowledge. Amazing. Everyone was respectful at the end. Yes. Nobody changed anyone's mind, but they went back and forth. It was amazing to see that. And I know the adults were like scared and terrified or whatever when they heard about it, but I'm like, everyone, you can believe what you want to believe. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to have differences. Yes. And that particular class did a great job with that. Like, it was amazing to me to hear how they were supporting their ideas. And the
depth of some of their thoughts is awesome.
It was incredible. I wish that was one that I recorded because I was like, wow, that sounds convincing. And whoa, that sounds really good. Like they were just really going at it and they had the freedom to do that. And they felt so comfortable talking to each other. Yeah. There was no anger there. Right. No tears, nothing. So just knowing that this can be done and it starts in school. I'm not saying something that, like the example that I gave, but just allowing kids to talk about things that are maybe not controversial or that they disagree. Just it could be something much smaller than that. Like, hey.
Yeah, it could be chocolate and vanilla ice cream for all you care. Yeah.
But giving them that comfort of going back and forth with some kind of facts behind it, right? Not just because, and I'm getting madder and
and actually having some type of rational reason why you think this is a certain way. And
it's a muscle that we need to exercise.
Yes. And we as adults need to do a better job at it because right now you got kids that are doing a better job than adults are, but you just really need to look at yourself. If you get that angry over comments, you have to start asking yourself, why are you that angry? And, is it that you don't have a good enough response to it? Is it that you haven't done your research where you have a legitimate response to it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or is it because, like I said, your favorite pundit or YouTube personality doesn't like it, and so now you don't? You gotta ask yourself these things.
Right.
You know, how much of your thought process are you outsourcing to someone else, and how much of it is really yours?
Right. Be it your parents, your spouse, your friends, your preacher.
I see people these days, and it kills me. You know, even in our 50s, there are still people saying, I believe this way because I was raised that way. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow. And you're how old?
Yeah.
Now, it's one thing if your parents raised you a certain way, and as you became an adult, you thought about it and then agreed with it.
Right.
Okay, cool, because then that's yours.
Right.
But to say, because my parents raised me this way, that's why I'm a Democrat or a Republican or whatever the case may be. It's like you really need to do a little work on your own there.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah. So we ask of you to continue to comment and share. And I will try to ignore some of the negative, but it would also be helpful if you kept it off of there and saved it for your own page. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we really do need to start we really do want the conversation. As we've said a million times, I love disagreement. I absolutely love disagreement. If it's good faith dialogue and I can learn something from it, and maybe I can help the other side learn a little wrinkle that they didn't think of. Even if at the end of the day we don't agree, I'm still cool with it, because we've become a little bit closer together because we've started to at least understand each other. And sometimes that in and of itself can bring the temperature down. So I think that's about it for this.
I do. I think so too.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get out of this.
Yeah. And so I'll be careful with the title for this episode so that people don't read it and just freak out or whatever. But no, please continue with the comments. Please with the good faith comments. Whether you agree or disagree, I'll take them all. But just agree with some level of rationale, and not just because someone else told you to.
Yeah, and respect.
Yes. So for this 56th episode of Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Frederick.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.